Hello, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I'm Bald.
On board.
And we are bringing you a review of One Letter Better by CruiseMonkeyGames.
Yes, feel free to check out our unboxing, rulebook rundown, and playthrough here on YouTube. We're now going to dig in, go over our normal 5 categories of gameplay, components, design, rulebook, and storage, and let you know if this is a Bald and Board Games must play or Bald and Board Games don't play. Blah, blah, blah,
Or a Bald and Gaze don't play.
It's Pride Month.
Yep, it is.
All right.
Just taking out some example cards here to show you guys as we talk about this.
We'll use the front view to start, and then as we display different things, we'll go down to that picture for you guys.
Yep, absolutely. So we got one more here.
Yep, purple.
Where is your purple? Where are you? There you are.
Nice.
Almost there's one more thing to find in here. And that's the draw tool. Whoa.
All right. So first category of our review is a storage. So how did CruiseMonkeyGames handle their storage?
I am giving the storage a 4. So the reason I'm giving the storage a 4 is, so it's the box. It's what it needs to be, but I dropped it specifically because of this person. This kind of tuck box for the main storage is susceptible to people tearing it.
Oh.
So
you dropped the score. You didn't drop the box.
No, yeah.
I'm like,
so there's also we just played another card game that's predominantly cards that has a box that I did give a 5. And the reason why that one got a 5 is because it's not a tuck box that can be torn and ripped and then you don't have a storage for your game anymore. It's one that closes up very nicely. It has a magnetic thing to close it. And very simple and serves the point. The deck isn't too much bigger than this, about maybe twice the size, but still. So the fact that this is the main storage dropped it down to a 4 for me, as I almost watched Ford here almost tear the top off this thing trying to get it open because he doesn't know how to open tuck boxes. What about you?
Same score, 4. For the exact same reason, yes. I agree. Like, I knew going into it, like, I went to open the box, and I was like, the tuck wasn't working, so I went to peel from the side, and it ripped slightly. No, yeah, kind of. But it's not, it's still manageable. But yeah, same thing. It's like, if there was if this was just like a casing, and there was an internal box that had all the cards in, that'd be great. But because this is the main storage, it is a little wonky. It can rip the box. The cards can get damaged pretty easily by, like, trying to dig in here. So it could have been a little bit more sturdy.
Yep, I agree.
And then the storage for these, like, these are just add-ons that we have specifically.
Yeah,
so if you watch our stream, we have this nice thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it just folds up. It does not fit in the box, but that does not impact the score at all because this is a beautiful product.
Yep. Yeah, I would like to see something to store these in, but it's no different than getting the play mats that you get with games that we have stored on the door. So didn't subtract from my score either. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Shut up. Next up is rulebook. What'd you give the rulebook?
Rulebook, I give a 3.5. Reason for that, overall, the rulebook is these 3 simple cards. I do love the fact that it's the same size and card shape and everything of all of the game cards, so it fits perfectly in the box. It's not some big pad of paper or something like that. I do love that. There was a few things we had, the creators, Ed and Caesar, on our Twitch stream when we live played this. There was some things that just weren't super clear. A few of those are that you can play all of your cards. You can do multiple things in one turn. We start out playing that you can play one word or steal one word, and that was your turn. We found out in our end of our third game that you can actually play multiple words or do multiple things as long as you have the cards to do so. So that wasn't super clear in here. Another thing that wasn't super clear is exactly how every card perfectly interacts. So the blue cards, you can take and swap a card from the discard pile. Well, it doesn't say here specifically, unless I missed it, to lay the discard pile out in a row, which they provided context right at the beginning of our playthrough. But also, it didn't say that you can swap the multiple blue cards multiple times. It was even called out in our stream that that's never been asked before. So there's just a few little things. Overall, it does explain the game. The game isn't that complicated in terms of playing it. There just was a few clunky things where as somehow Bald and I always find those things that just wasn't clarified in that set of rules.
So 3.5?
3.5.
All right. I was a little harsher. I gave the rulebook a 2. For every reason that you said, reading through this as well was actually very difficult. Just the way that it was worded was very clunky. I would have preferred that there was more cards to flesh things out. Again, it also wasn't super clear. The rulebook isn't really organized in a clear way to be able to look back to it to find what you're looking for. Like spacing wise, it would have been nice to have that. But yeah, we had the creators on the stream with us as we did the playthrough, and they were having to correct a lot, or they would say, "Oh yeah, we took that out of the rules and stuff." So just due to how clunky it is to read, due to how unclear it made a simple game more difficult. Honestly, the rulebook did it. It took us a minute. I had to reread multiple things that you can find in the rulebook rundown, where I kept getting tripped up and having to reread over and over again to try and understand, and I still understood it wrong when we started to play. Yeah. So it got a 2 for me. What I do like though is I do like they have the QR code in the back to scan. This and the fact that it is something that just nicely fits into the deck is what kept it at a 2. It was almost a 1 for me. Which is hilarious that the last 2 games we've played and reviewed have had QR codes. Yeah. We rarely have QR codes in most of these huge games that we have. Yep. But the 2 smallest games, nice box, they're like, here's a QR code for either more rules or an online version of the rules, or in this case, the dictionary. Yep. So I do love that. Yep. A new trend of, here, go to electronic version of this. Well, all these have QR codes for like video how to play as well. Well, sure. Most games do. Yeah. So, very nice. Which I watch. Next up, we have the, actually, we always say that for last, the gameplay. Components. Let's go with components next. Yeah, so components are the physical components themselves. So not necessarily how they look or what the words are on them, but yeah, the physical component. So the cards, the play mat, the pad of paper, sure, we'll call that a component. Sure. My component score is, I'll say they're solid cards. They have the linen finish. They shuffle well. There's no linen finish. There's no linen finish on these? No. No, there's not. You're right. They still shuffle well, but they will bend eventually. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say my component score is a 4. Main reason for that is this, we'll call it a play mat or whatever you want to call it, is phenomenal. So I'm going to zoom into my screen here. You can see it. We'll just fold it in half so you can see it this way. So one letter better, CruiseMonkeyGames is on the thing. This is literally a perfect slot for the cards. So as you play the game, you can spell your different words out. There's room for 8 words. There's room for another, like, your discard stack if you play one of the certain word types, which we'll talk about in gameplay. Super creative creation is really nice on the table. Really nice to take if you're traveling, especially if you're outside, so it prevents wind. Overall, obviously the cards, it does not have a linen finish, which I kind of noticed as they're starting to bend. So we've only played this today, and there is a bend on some of these cards already. And we don't shuffle too egregiously. Mm-hmm. So having that linen finish would push it up, probably to a 5 for me, because these were the components. So having that little extra... What did you use? When you're showing the bend, I put it forward, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, having that little extra finish would have been perfect, because this whole game is just cards in the mat. Yep. Cool. Yep. I gave the components a 3. So, again, I was going to actually go lower, but the fact they have a custom mat, which does feel very nice. You definitely don't need this for the game inside, but for their situation that had the mat created that they ran into, and then for camping and everything as well, if you took this camping with you, that's where this mat would be, great. And it felt good. It was easy to put the cards in, take them out, pop them in the pocket. Absolutely. That's what raised it from a 2 to a 3 for me. So what I don't like is the cards. So again, like all the points you said, they don't have that linen finish. They are a relatively cheap feeling card. I'm not saying that they are cheap cards. They're inexpensive to make, obviously, but they're the same kind of card that I don't like with things like Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. They're that same card that after a while, those edges are going to come up. They're going to get worn. They're going to come up. They're already bending and bowing. They're just going to get worn down so easily. Or if you happen to get anything on the card whatsoever, they're going to stick together too. So the linen finish on cards really helps prevent all of that, really. And yes, you can sleeve them, but I shouldn't have to buy an additional product to be able to make sure my game stays in slightly better shape from, normal use. So it got a 3 from me.
All right. Our 4th out of 5 categories is the design. So this will now dig into what is on the cards, the design of this as well, and how that feels with the game.
Yep. So design got a 3 from me as well. Again, the design of the mat and having 8 sections to put your cards. Having the logos that are heat treated onto this is very nice. So I'm mainly focusing on the cards though, because again, you don't have to have this. It's kind of an optional thing. So for the cards, it got a 3 for me because we're on. We're not on. Oh, we're the wrong one. There we go. Mainly because so what I do like first, I'll start with that, is that there's different types of cards, right? You have all your different styles of cards here. 3-letter, 2-letter, 1-letter, steel, draw, wilds, and then your different colors that do different actions. So visually, it's easy to see. But visually, it's kind of boring. It's very flat. I wish that there was more of a creative element that went into the card design. For the explanation that's down here, there's some where this applies to stealing but not to normally playing. So there could have been some clarification that said, when stealing can be added to, or which is a little bit clearer there. That's a tiny nitpick. But it's mainly just the fact that the cards are very plain. If I'm honest, which that's why we're doing this, if I hadn't met Ed or the Cruise Monkey team and spoken to them, and they hadn't told me about the game and everything, I would not have picked this up off the shelf because I'm a very visual person. Like, if it has nice artwork, you immediately grab my attention, and then I learn about the game. But if I was at Target looking over the list of these, like the box and everything else, this is one that I would probably pass over just because it's not visually interesting. Luckily, that's an easy change if they wanted to make. And that's not the most important thing about a game, which is why that's only one of our 5 categories. But even still, it got a 3 for me, which is just middle of the road. There's nothing spectacular and there's nothing absolutely horrible.
Yep, you can leave mine there. So for mine, I gave it a 3.5. I do agree it's a little plain. I bumped it up because in the background of all these, there is that 1LB, as you can kind of see scroll across all of this, which is 1 letter better, their game name. So I do like that they at least didn't just have a white background behind all of these cards. To Nick's point, you do have the different colors. You have the multitude of single letter, double letter, triple letter, and then some of the fun special cards there that do different things. That'll come more in the gameplay rating. Overall, the one thing I didn't like about the design is how aggressive the color is, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So in my hand, obviously, I'm not necessarily looking at Nick's hand. He's not looking at mine. Yeah. But as I have my cards here, it's pretty easy to see by just glancing and talking to one another if their top card's a different color than black. So I think having a color distinction, like where it says blue, yellow, purple, black, is all you would need. Like, have the word purple here be in purple, and the wild too, but have the outskirts of the card just be black.
Yeah. So
that way, everything's black on the outskirts. You're not accidentally glancing at another player and seeing what they have. And then in the middle...
Like I did at the start. I was like, I can see your cards.
Yeah.
I can see you have a green one.
But yeah, so then in the middle, have this word yellow be in yellow, or the wild. So then you know exactly what it stands for and what it does.
Yeah.
Which also I think would have been more helpful for like the text.
Well, actually, the reason why this isn't in yellow is because they did this specifically for those who are colorblind. That's why it says yellow and black. It says
No, that's fine. I'm saying keep this in yellow and have the word yellow there, but have the whole outskirt.
Oh, I thought you were saying have the word.
Oh, no.
Yellow
Have the word yellow, but not the word yellow in yellow.
Someone's holding the cards just blank. Like,
No. Yeah, so the word of the color is fine, and that this is here, but have the outskirts all black.
Yeah.
I think for me.
Yep. Makes sense. All right. Lastly, we have gameplay.
So gameplay, I'm not going to dock gameplay for the fact that we didn't play it correctly. That was a rulebook problem. We already talked about the rulebooks. Yeah. So that's what I'm clarifying. So in terms of gameplay itself, I give this, after fully understanding exactly how to play and everything, a 4.5. I think it's a very fun game. Sure, if you're going against someone who has an English degree and you don't, or English background, it's going to be vastly unfair. But if you're going against two people like Nick and I, who are probably fairly similar in terms of knowledge of words and spelling.
Fairly simple.
Oh, yeah, that too. Like we spelled is, or he spelled is, I didn't spell it. I at least used 3 letters.
It got me the 50-point bonus. It was a proper play.
I think overall the game is a lot of fun to play. I like, obviously, as you know from previous review videos and just gameplay, I love comboing. So once learning it correctly, knowing I can play 2 words and steal a word, or play 3 words and steal a word, or whatever works out, I love that comboing aspect where I can plan ahead to be like, oh, I'm going to keep this S and not use it in my word because I want to steal later. So I do love that aspect. Again, you're just using words. There's the steal 1, the draw 2 card, so that adds a little fun aspect to it where the cards that are in your hand aren't necessarily just stuck there. You can potentially change them up a little bit. As well as, I love the aspect where you can dig into the discard pile. So if you have the discard pile laid out, if I finish my turn and I'm like, I have 3 cards left, one of these cards really works well with the card Nick discarded on his last turn, I can take out of the discard pile to help replenish my hand. Mm-hmm. So overall, gameplay is great. Like, it was a lot of fun once we fully learned what to do.
Yep. Yeah, I gave gameplay a 4. Again, based specifically on really the last round we played, where we played it entirely correctly, because that's where it felt good. Things flowed. Being able to finally get like that 15-point hand bonus did feel good. Playing is as my last 2, and I was like, oh, amazing. Yeah. Like I played a card, I played a word, I stole a word, then dropped the last 2 letters, and just banked in points on that last. What did I get that first turn? Let me see here.
Where's like 40 or something.
Right here. Right. I got a total of 46 points in 1 turn. So that felt really good. It's not quite a 5 for me because you can have hands upon hands upon hands where you just can't spell words. Just keep getting double letters.
You can only discard up to 4, not all 8.
Right. You have a limit to how many you can discard. So for me personally, like when playing the game, I would have liked to have been able to discard my entire hand. I think I got it already, but double check.
Oh.
I would have been able to discard my entire hand and then pick the many cards back up. I mean, since it's your turn anyway, why not? Like, why not be able to just dump your whole hand because the other player gets to go next to begin with?
Yeah.
So that little luck aspect that's uncontrollable, that can kind of ruin the flow and really turn the tides of the game. Like, if you can't spell anything or steal anything for turn after turn after turn, then you're going to fall so far behind that there's very little chance you're going to actually be able to catch up. So there almost needs to be a contingency rule or plan for that instance. But it's a 4 because it was fun. When you can combo, which you can do most of the time, you can kind of combo, just get 1 card down, or you can plan and wait to get cards down, and being able to manipulate your hand the best you can is nice. Just has a little bit of a slow start for the most part. Okay.
All right. So now we have our combined bold and board scores for each category and our overall scores.
I was going to say, so first our overall scores.
We just changed that up the other day.
I know. It's because we forgot about it.
I didn't either.
So first overall score. So out of all 5, we take the average for each of us. So for board, your overall score
is a 3.5. So again, the major bullet points. Very fun game to play. I'll definitely play it again, and we'll try it out with 3 or 4 players for sure with the larger group. And the docking was really the rule book, having so many clarification questions. Our Twitch stream was an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, about 2 hours probably, and we asked probably 15 to 20 clarification questions to the creators. So that was a big docking, and then the docking of the non-linen finish on the cards was a little bit the other one.
Yeah, and my overall was a 3. So yeah, again, the rule book, the components, and just the look of the cards were the big things that dropped it. Again, the rule book, it made the game more difficult to understand than it should have been. Just again, it's just the way that it's worded and organized, I think, is the main thing. It feels like there's some stuff missing that was a little bit clunky. What I say? The design of the cards, nothing visually striking to me. And then again, yeah, the actual material the cards are made out of is definitely going to wear out at some point for sure. And a stack of cards like this never feels good to have a bunch of sleeves on because they slide around. So you don't want to have to sleeve these cards.
Yeah, we saw that with Andromeda's Edge.
Yeah, I sleeved every card in Andromeda's Edge and immediately removed them all.
And
I played with it once because
flying across the
I was
board.
like, nope. Okay.
So
now for the Bald and Board Games official scores for each category, starting with the rule book.
Yeah, so rule book. I gave this a 3.5. Nick gave this a 2. Overall, Bald and Board, it's a 2.5.
Yeah, I think we stated enough why.
Yeah.
So, the storage.
Storage, we both gave this a 4. Comes out to a nice, flat, and easy 4.
Yep.
Did its job. Just could have been a little bit better with the box design.
Yeah. And the gameplay.
Gameplay, I rated at 4.5. Nick rated at 4. So we always round down in this scenario. So it rounds down to a 4.
Yeah, if you don't hit that ledge, it does not count. And components.
Component, I gave this a 4. Nick gave this a 3. Rounds in the middle to 3.5.
Yeah. And lastly, design.
In design, I gave this a 3.5. Nick gave this a 3. Same thing. Holds at a 3.
And so the overall Bald and Board Games score, which will determine if this is a Bald and Board Games must play or a Bald and Board Games don't play, is a 3. A 3 is the minimum that you do need to become a Bald and Board Games certified must play. So we do consider one letter better, a Bald and Board Games must play.
Yes. And again, for those of you watching, even the creators, because we have the 5 categories,
yes,
there is scenarios like this where the game is a lot of fun
yep,
and an easy game to bring back to the table. So the game itself is great, but there's a few clunky things that dock the rating.
Yep.
But still, definitely something that's nice and easy. Grab it off the shelf if it's in a Target type store, if it's a vending machine, if it's at gaming convention you're at.
Yeah.
It's still a fun game to play. Especially, I would say this is a fairly educational game. Where like, if you have kids,
Yeah,
10,
for sure.
10 teenagers, playing a word game with them, instead of playing Scrabble,
Yeah.
I think I would pull this off the shelf over Scrabble.
Yeah, this would be better to play over Scrabble because you get the excitement of, taking points away from somebody.
Yeah.
That act of being able to play a card to take their points and to gain them is something that would appeal, I think, vastly to children's mischievous minds. They would find it hilarious. Yeah, to be like, I'm going to take your word.
Yeah, for sure.
S, like you could spell justice like I did.
Justices.
And maybe the kid wouldn't have gotten like, oh man, but they get an S and like, haha. And they take it with a green S and now no one can steal it ever again. And they get all your points. That would just make it so much fun for them. And then you can also adjust the rules too for kids to make it easier to where you don't have to do Scrabble specific legal words for kids. You can just do words, names of things, whatever, as long as the spelling is correct and it is a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
However you decide to do it. But yeah, I think this is a great game for kids, a great game for adults, really just kind of all ranges. Those with dementia who want to remember how to spell words. It is a lot of fun. And yeah, so the reason why we do the 5 categories is because we really want to make sure that you get an honest review of each part of it, because there is a lot of thought that goes into making board games, and some areas do get missed, but other areas are amazing. And you can see the time that went into those. So we want to make sure that when we give it a 3, out of the 5, which is really that middle of the ground, which is why that is or it's slightly above middle. Obviously, 2.5 would be middle.
Yeah.
Slightly above, which is why we consider it certified, is because we want to make sure that the gameplay is great, which is really the most important thing.
Yeah. And
but yeah, the other stuff there can affect you getting it to the table for the gameplay portion.
And one thing we didn't call out, which is very important to gameplay of this game specifically, is they did take the time to identify what letters to put into this game. So as Nick showed, there's multiple 2 and 3 letter combos on one card. They went through hours of work to understand what are the 2 letter combos that are used in a lot of English words. What are the 3 letter combos, like ing, obviously, and others. So that really didn't come up in our gameplay review, but very important aspect of this game is the balance of having letters to make words.
Yep.
And they took the time to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to find situations where you might have a combination of letters that you wouldn't use often. Like we ran into, DD.
Sure.
But there's going to be situations where you need 2 Ds. And if you pull that double D, there you go. So it'll be worth more points because you're going to use it less often, but that's going to be a killer once you can use it. Like the X's and the Z's.
Sure. But yeah, overall, again, thank you, Ed. Thank you, Caesar, for providing us this game. Yeah. We hope that the review is useful for you.
Yep.
For those of you located in LA, if you want to meet the creators, Strategicon happens again Labor Day weekend down by Los Angeles International Airport. We'll probably be there, but the creators will be there. They said there's going to be like a little tournament with some prizes.
Nice.
So feel free to show up. If you're not from the LA area or unable to make it, CruiseMonkeyGames is their social media handle and website as well. We will post that into our video here. So feel free to follow them and go reach out to them if you have any questions.
Yeah, get yourself a copy.
Yeah.
Have fun. Practice for that tournament. We'll be there.
We'll have
so
to practice
watch out. We're going to be studying that dictionary, specifically the Scrabble one.
In Spanish.
We're coming for you. I'm only learning the long words. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Bald and Board Games as we gave you our honest review of One Letter Better by CruiseMonkeyGames. I'm Bald.
I'm Board.
We'll see you in the dictionary.